upside the head. It was funny, but you know, well, let me listen. I like them porno calls, because every night I was getting them. Because they must think that when you're in sleep, a deep sleep, your nerves get something or other. So I was getting calls every night. Anyway, I had to put up with the government following me everywhere. I had to make a decision. At those days, I went to universities everywhere. Very popular. And I knew that the government was following me, and they would identify all the Iranians and everybody that would invite me. And they knew these guys are the active ones. Wherever I would go, out of that crew, which was true. So I had to make a decision. Do I keep traveling and talking and organizing and arranging and helping, or do I pull back? And I made a decision that I would do more for the movement by me going and visiting. And also traveling around the country. During the first 10 years, I traveled and I knew every masjid in the country almost. Every place, of course, they've developed now. But I was right on top of the Islamic movement, you know. And it was wonderful to get that experience. So when I'm talking about different, now all this has happened simultaneously with developing movement. You got to remember, I'm watching what they're doing to the Dar. By 83, the Dar was finished. The Islamic Party, all of those. You know the way they broke up the Dar? It was simple. They knew it would work on me. They took the Islamic this militant part of Sheikh Jelani took them all up in the hills, doing some phony Sufism. That's what they wanted us to believe. The people that went with Jelani was government agents, because everybody in there. Here's what happened. When they come back down, Imam Yahya Abdul Karim, he was in the Masjid, Suleiman al-Hadi, last poets, he's telling y'all that he was in the movement from day one. You see, we was all in the Masjid, and Sheikh Jelani came and said that he was going to make Yahya Abdul Karim the Amir of Dawah. And he was just sitting there. And I said, what did y'all do? He said, we was just sitting there too. In other words, so they thought that was a nigga. I'm a nigga. If they come and I'm outnumbered, remember, wherever I'm at, I'm outnumbered. When I'd be in Oakland, all of them would be the police. And they thought that I would be like Yahya Abdul Karim. I said, oh no, I don't be none of that. I'm sorry, we don't do that. Same thing here anywhere. When everything, it's always a crew. They all supporting and backing each other. They came to the masjid when my son was grandson was supposed to be killed. He wasn't killed at all. Anyway, is this thing still on?
Yeah.
Okay. He came. That was 2013. Man, that was 7 years ago. That was 7 years ago. But I'd be rolling. And I showed y'all the phone calls I got. They called Sister Bahia. Then Sister Bahia called me downstairs. And then I come 7 hours before they discovered my grandson. He was found at 6:15 a.m. on Monday morning. I got back here Sunday night, and I got here at about 10 o'clock from the metro, and I went to bed. They called me at around 2 o'clock, 2:15, 2:09, something. The time here, which was only 11 o'clock out there. And they was already announcing that my grandson was dead. 7 hours ahead of time. Police ain't never asked nothing about it. Prime witness. I got the phone bill, you know, that has the time. It has a newspaper article that says he was found at 6:15 on Monday. Right? It ain't nothing to nobody. Okay. The long-range struggle. As we move along, our first goals would be the normal goals to open the Masjid, to live closely, all that stuff that we, you know, okay. But also, there's an evolution that goes on. And we have evolved through all of that to be an example for everybody. Because what? Everybody knows what's going on. Melanie and them could play like they don't know, but everybody know they know what's been happening here. All the people in Baltimore, all right out there in Virginia, everybody, Mass, ISNA, they all know. You can tell when we go to the meetings, they all have that little look. They know what's going on. They've been knowing what's going on. Right? So now, what is our message? Here we are, a handful of people, and bad old boss man that busts everybody up and drag them down the street, slap the urine out of their mouth and everything, right? And here we are laughing at it. Yeah, boy, you ain't nothing. That's what our job, that's one of our jobs. We're not even nowhere near finished yet. But that's one of the things that it was on our schedule for us to do. It may have been 10 years since we got a kind of clear focus on this part of it. But we've been telling you where we've been headed all along. By the time we talk about it, we may have been in it 5 years, 7 years, 8 years when we talk about it. But we talked about strategic management under conditions of repression 10, 12 years ago. Yeah, we've been, in other words, tafweed, if you want to ask about it, that's what it is. Turning everything over to Allah. And then being happy with what come. We're happy as we can be. I mean, really happy. That don't mean we don't have to do anything but what we've been doing. Right? We don't have to go nowhere but where we get ready to go. We don't have to answer any call but what we answer and when we want it and how we want it. We don't even have to, we can go back to Oakland when we get ready. I got a court date out there. I don't have to go back out to the little silly court date. I'll go when I get ready. Not when they try to move you here and move you there. We'll go when we get ready. We didn't mean to stay here 3 months now. We was going to run out, pick my daughter up, and then zip on back. And early January, maybe around the 3rd, Brother Suleimani he achieved martyrdom. We said, hold it. But it was already something keeping us here. Because remember, we was going to pick my daughter up from college and zip on back. And that's what tafweed is, that you designate your affairs and turn over your affairs to Allah. And then whatever comes, you're happy with it. I'm telling you, it all come together too perfect, because you have to remember, We're watching what's been going on in Najaf and Karbala for years. And we've been talking here about that's a special thing jumping off over there. And we said they don't know, and boss man don't know what it is. Soon as Soleimani achieved martyrdom, we told him exactly what it means and lined it up. And that's what it was. We said, thank you very much. That's the biggest mistake you ever made. The man couldn't achieve that in his lifetime, what he did with martyrdom. They unified everybody in the region. They had demonstrations in India and all, hey man, it was a miracle. Over here, they're on the 24-hour news cycle. So, and it's gone. It ain't gone over there. Everything you see, they're cooking up scheme after scheme to get rid of the United States of America out of the region. They will be gone in time, or they will be neutralized. So, about how did we reach all of these conclusions? Everything is evolutionary. But this main direction, we knew that from the beginning. And we had a pretty good look at what we're going to encounter. Well, what are you going to encounter along the way? We had already the vision. Hey, once you drive to California, along Highway 70 or 80, whichever one you go, you know the landscape. After you do it 2 or 3 times, you definitely know the landscape, what the vista is going to look like. When you done had a couple of times, once in the Jahiliyyah, in the black movement, the black movement, but in cocaine smuggling and all of that, it's the same rules. The white man is the reason that cocaine came to America big time. He brought it here, and he made sure we got it here. He was stupid enough to think that he didn't realize that we was going to do the same thing that we had did before in the black movement in Oakland, East Oakland Enterprises. We just made everybody rich. Everybody was young and happy. It ain't been like that since. Why? Because nobody that had that amount of money reinvested it in the people. And still, when it was time to go, had enough to run off with. By the time boss man finished with the Negro, he's almost broke. When they case after case after case. But we knew that then. So the point I'm making is, when we traveled in those days, I had selected works, Chairman Mao, Carlos, Minnie Manuel. I studied all that stuff as I was dealing with the cocaine. I had revolutionary books with me while I was traveling. And I studied it. Not only now and last month and all of that. So we've had a feel for all of this all along. It's not bragging, but it's evident we didn't have a feel for it. And all the people, all the rich people, they can't see them here. In South Africa, as soon as Dr. Siddiqui gave that speech, all them people changed. I said, oh, okay. And the longer we kept moving, I said, well, something came to mind. The whole movement in this world This part of it is controlled by boss man. South Africa is controlled. The people in Iran that's over here, they on boss man's team. Or something stupid. It's something, I would hate to think that they are all card-carrying police over here. But something smells bad. The movement in Canada, our friends, smells bad. And just like with Negroes, if Imam Musa is bad with Negroes, how can he be bad with everybody? When all the big people are saying something good, right? Tell the truth. How can it be unless it's the way we've been saying it? And so, I think all the stuff that's been happening is normal, it's a part of the movement. And we had to take it past Malcolm and King. They're trying to bring everybody back to King and Malcolm. Yeah. We said, no, I'm sorry. We said that 10 years ago, beyond Malcolm. Yeah. We love Malcolm X. But we also like Booker T. Washington and W.E.B. Du Bois for what they was doing. I mean, right? One was trying to educate Negroes to get into work, like all the Latinos do all the work. That's what he was trying to do with Negroes. That's not bad, right? You get in there and you get all the work and all the industry, hey man, you'll be all right. And he also asked the big white folks, he said, I think it was 1890, he said something about his lecture was, we have followed you tearfully to the grave. Talking about Negroes. But yet you are bringing Europeans here to work in all the northern factories and stuff like that. That's what he was saying. While we have followed you with your bad behavior tearfully to the grave, the Negroes was following behind, oh, boss man died. It's terrible, right? And it was true. Okay. Malcolm's encounter with the system does not cover this part. The Islamic movement and all this changes, and they don't cover this part. Colonialism, black nationalism, it covers all of that. In early stages of Islam, it covers that. He took us at least 20 years, and it was all up in the 80s when his analysis was still, in vogue. But now, we couldn't say that we're going to follow Booker T. Washington in the 60s. They didn't even Paul Robeson, he was still alive. They didn't even ask Paul Robeson nothing. He'd been through the communist movement. He'd been through the whole show. He had a whole list of things he could have told them. They didn't ask him nothing. They just didn't ask him. So this is a whole new world we're living in. It takes an up-to-date analysis and a pre-analysis so that we will know where we're going and we know where they're going. I'm sorry, so far I haven't even met anybody that could blend it all together and it comes out clear. Let's just say, so far, so good. I haven't seen nobody. I don't hear nobody. I don't hear nobody that's doing that. That's our job. And that's a big blessing. Can you imagine? It don't make no difference about who talks what. When they talk about this stage of Islamic movement in America, they're going to be talking about us. They have to. I mean, in the future. And we might live long enough to help institute it, but we're just getting started. we're just getting started. When you have an evolution, you think, hey, it's a long story, but we're going to make it right, because what's got us as far as a vision, an evolutionary vision of, like right now, our picture, we're right in the evolutionary process of evolving. This is not psychological guerrilla warfare anymore, although there's a little bit of it hanging on, you don't just jump from here to there. But we have, our subjects will change. Like this one, and the next one will be another valuable subject. Hasad, out of all the diseases of the Islamic body, we have thought that Hasad is the worst, but there's a treatment for it. We'll talk about it. We probably may mention this again tomorrow at Juma. So everybody get a little piece of it. We call it a Hasad 3. It'll just be quicker and more, but it'll be to the point. So, to answer the question fully, we, right here, have to do a balancing act with the whole movement. Because so far, I haven't picked up on any signs of anybody being, kind of in tune with it. That's all. That's just the way it is. And if anybody else have run across somebody, this is a good time to mention it. We'd like to hear about it right this minute. Who and what group that, that seems to be, on the money or even in the room. That's something to be thankful about. That's why we're happy. We're doing our job. We don't have to do. We're doing our job, but we have to improve, and we have to expand. We got 2 or 3 ways to go, and probably we're going to take at least 3 of them. Because Boss Man got the one covered, the people. We already know what Boss Man gonna send. We're gonna send that. Okay, we have the other.